beautifuls, this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Seduce Me, an Otome game, visual novel based. Last episode, a demon named... Damn. Malix right there, it's on the freaking thing. Malix had came to disturb our party after everyone had left. And we're at the point where these guys need to do some training. Luckily, this house is magic protected, and there's apparently a magic aura around me where even if I go outside, he can't hurt me, which I find weird. Like, did my grandfather and father know about this and they're not telling me? So, let's hopefully those questions will be answered. Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did all of this even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They're only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life would go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say it. Who's Kay? The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I had to care for the house all on my own. I'd get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
What? I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m. Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m. in the morning? Work on homework the first thing in the morning? You kidding? Go make some coffee. Might as well stay up. I decided making coffee was my best bet in surviving the rest of the day. Why not? I haven't had coffee in forever. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen, unconcerned that I was in pajama pants and a tank top. I rummaged through the cabinets for a coffee machine and any makings for coffee. Surely my grandfather had some. A French press. Well, it's better than nothing. As I began to make my coffee, I checked my email and text on my phone. No new important emails, no text messages. I sighed. I quickly made my coffee just how I liked it and sat on the counter. But then, I began to wonder. Would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind. For a whole morning, I did not think once about the boys or of Malix. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical or dangerous or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my mind. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try to sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes, back to sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone and checked the time once again. It was noon. yet it felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? Why wouldn't you want to go slowly? It's the weekend. I sighed, got changed into normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? Ooh, a gazebo! I love gazebos. I quickly went to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In their yard was all 5 of the boys, practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. Don't disturb them, they're focusing. Let's just watch them from afar. I just watched. Boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they were all in. They all were in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head inside to the kitchen. I was getting hungry, and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon, so lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make pizza. Sandwiches or chicken rice? Chicken rice. That's the first thing that caught my attention. Gotta keep their energy and strengthen up with protein. I took my time to make almost perfect chicken breast alongside some rice. Cooking wasn't hard unless you didn't know what you were doing in the first place. I would have printed or looked up a recipe on my phone because I don't know much recipes. I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. No, we're going to find one of the incubi. No, we're not going to be a sad, mopey little girl and go in my room and eat alone. I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I looked down each hall, trying to find one of the incubi wandering, so that I wouldn't have to go through each individual room finding them. I pursed my lips in irritation. Where the heck are they? I sighed, knowing that I would have to search for them in each room. I quickly turned and headed up the stairs. I began to walk down a hall and opened a random door, peeking inside. Lucky enough, I found Damien in the study. How did they know I wanted to go see Damien? Damien was in the study that I didn't recognize. There was a nice desk and a display case full of toys, books, and memorabilia. I had never entered this room before, but Damien looked like he knew this room like the back of his head. Damien was gazing at the pictures and books on the shelf, almost looking lost and dazed. It was almost adorable, but I could sense a small hint of sadness in his eyes. Damien?
Huh? Oh, hello.
Damien turned to me and gave a gentle smile, as if he was doing nothing as I came in. I entered the room and closed the door behind me.
I was just looking at the books. They're very interesting topics.
Huh? I looked over at the shelf and skimmed over the spines of each book. They were all books about business and psychology, all ranging in thickness. Some crossed over and brought two topics together, while others were strictly one or the other. Did my grandfather read and study all of these? They seemed used, but they were all covered by a layer of dust.
Do humans really study this much?
Occasionally. It depends on why we're studying.
What do you mean?
Well, if we're interested in a topic, like business, we learn what we can, because we want to know more.
Are there things you can't study?
Nope. There are books and stuffs about anything and everything.
Even the demon world?
Maybe, but usually those books are considered fiction or religious theory. It was almost cute to talk about learning with Damien. I guess learning was different in the demon world, but telling him about learning was almost like telling a child the meaning of life. I felt myself become a little wiser as we continued talking.
Humans can learn anything? At any time?
We have libraries and bookstores full of books we can read.
Humans have the freedom to learn anything.
Oh, now this is depressing. I looked at Damien in confusion. He seemed to look jealous. What about demons? Can't they learn what they want? Damien shook his head before looking down at
Demons don't have schools to learn from like humans do. Everything we learn comes from experience or verbal mentoring. Books are only permitted to be read by higher nobles.
Oh. I stared wide-eyed. There was no schools in the abyssal plains. That seemed so unreal, yet, in a way, I wasn't that surprised.
The only ones who have ever touched a book are James and Eric, since they're the oldest. Sam and Matthew chose not to read.
Of course. What about you? Damien stood silent for a bit before sitting on the ground, leaning against a large desk in the room. I decided to follow along and sat beside him.
You brought food?
Huh? Oh, yeah, I brought food. Here.
Thank you.
Damien took his dish of food and began to politely eat. I followed suit. It was painfully obvious that he was dodging my question. Did I want to know? I was very curious. Ask again. Sorry if I'm persistent. I was curious, so I had to ask. However, Damien looked to me, stopping me from opening my mouth.
Because I'm technically not a noble at all.
I tilted my head and raised an eyebrow in confusion. Not a noble, but aren't you all brothers? If the others are nobles, that would make you one. Damien looked to his dish with a sigh. I suddenly felt regret for asking and pushing the topic. Before I could apologize, Damien spoke.
We are all half-brothers. We only share the same father. Our mothers are all different. James, Eric, Sam, and Matthew all had noble mothers who are now queens. My mother was not a noble, and is not a queen.
Damn! Kill it in the heart. My heart. I'm so sad. Oh. I see sadness in Damien's eyes. I bit my lip. I shouldn't have pushed the issue. I'm sorry. Damien shook his head, snapping out of his thoughts, and smiled at me.
For what? You didn't know, and were curious. It was only appropriate to answer.
Still, it was rude of me to pry like that. I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. Damien only smiled lightly at me before continuing to eat. As he ate, my mind began to wander to the abyssal plains. What was it like? What did it look like? Was their castle big? How many servants did they have? My thoughts were halted by Damien chuckling, most likely at my thoughts. I turned red in embarrassment. Sorry.
You keep saying sorry when you don't need to. It's kind of cute.
Oh my god! I pursed my lips, but couldn't stop a blush from running across my face. It was getting nowhere. I went back to eating in the futility, earning another chuckle from Damien. However, as a groan of pain escaped Damien's lips, I stopped and looked at him in surprise. Damien? Are you okay?
Yeah. It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Don't tell me you have like some health problem. I heard him gulp down and hide another groan, making me even more concerned than before. Is something wrong with his throat? Is that why he's quiet all the time? Damien.
It's just a headache. I get it when I run out of energy. I'll be fine.
I just remembered the demons, of course. Oh, of course. He was out of energy. I guess he didn't take enough when we first met, so it was just enough to heal his wounds.
None of us took more than we needed to heal.
Oh my god. I'm so dumb. That slipped my brain. Like, what the F is he hurt? Of course he's a demon that needs, like, a touch of my hand or some shit. With the sound of his voice, he was fighting back major pain. I felt incredibly bad. Damien smiled very lightly at me.
I'll be fine.
I want to give him my energy so bad, but what is she gonna do? Whatever. If he needed energy, I was willing to give it. Damien. Damien instantly turned away from me before I could finish my sentence.
No! I'll be fine. I'm used to this.
Does no one go after him because he's the quiet boy? That's kind of sad. Used to it. Used to the pain? There was no way that was okay. I glared at Damien's back before grabbing his shoulder and forcing him around. Damien stared at me wide-eyed in surprise. Damien, let me help you. Please. I don't want to see you in pain like this. Yeah, mother effer, I'm giving you energy. I continued to stare at him, wondering if he'd make the first move. I wanted to help him, truly. I knew that my energy would help him not feel pain. Can I just give you a hug? Would that be enough energy for you? I don't want to, like, kiss you or anything. That's moving too fast, okay? Damien must have heard my thoughts, as his gaze changed from nervous to piercing. All of a sudden, I felt the familiar feeling of warmth running through my body. Once again, what's happening? I felt my body slightly heat up as Damien wrapped an arm around my body and pulled my body tightly to his. Okay, we're hugging. That's cool. Damien gave a lustful gaze before speaking, bringing a hand up to cup the back of my neck. What?
Thank you.
We have to kiss. We have to kiss. What? Before I knew it, Damien pulled me into a gentle but passionate kiss. He erupted through my body as his kiss slowly and almost like timidly got deeper. Damien kept an arm around my waist while I rested my hands on his chest. Why do we have to kiss? The energy from my body was slowly draining in the kiss, making me feel light and warm. It was almost pitiful how comfortable and how willing I was in this situation. Still, I held no regrets. I was enjoying every bit of this kiss. Damien was a wild card. I didn't really know what to expect from him, and his kiss was no exception. Damien wasn't forceful, but his kiss was deep and passionate, and it felt almost magical. It was how I imagined the first kiss to be like, but no, Sam kind of like bleh. Except with energy drain. Soon though, the energy drain stopped, and Damien gently pulled his face away to end the kiss. I stared up at him as we both panted for air. I had never kissed like that before. Well, of course you never had a first kiss before. I mean, well, you have now, but... And I was so lost in the moment that I had forgotten how to breathe. Damien moved a strand of my hair from my face to behind my ear, eyes still full of desire. That's the move, killer move right there.
I'm okay now, but
What? You're no. No. Or not, no. I could feel the hold of his hand, of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time I wasn't sure if I truly didn't want to give anymore. No, stop right now, sorry. Maybe later. I gently pushed Damien back, smiling tiredly. Oh, okay. Let's stop here. I'm getting a little dizzy. Damien instantly nodded, a glaze of guilt running across his eyes as he examined me for fatigue.
Are you okay? I didn't take too much, did I?
Well, if we would have went further on, you probably would have, so. I giggled softly before lifting my finger to his lips. Hushing him, I then smiled. It was my choice, Damien. I wanted to help. Damien stared at me before nodding with a very small smile.
Thank you.
What would have happened if I kept going? I really don't want to know, though. Damien quickly stood up and helped me stand. I gently leaned back on my feet, feeling slightly wobbly. As I felt my body lean back, Damien quickly held me to him to balance me.
Are you sure you're okay?
I couldn't even respond back. Weakness poured over me. I gripped onto him, trying to find my core balance once again, but I remained almost limp against Damien's chest. The question I have is, if they would have taken more energy, would we have died? That's a question I have. Damien let out a sigh before lifting me up and carrying me to my room. He gently laid me on my bed, covering me with my blankets. As I looked up at him, he brushed a strand of my hair from my face to the side. I felt weak and felt like closing my eyes, so I did. I let myself fall back into the darkness of sleep, knowing I was safe and comfy in my bed. Damien lingered in my dreams, reminding me of the kiss we shared. I felt happy. I felt relaxed. I was going to sleep for a good while. The remainder of the night went surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but it felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. I felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. I felt good. Good. Good for you. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grogginess, no aches. Perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Sorry, I won't yawn so bad. Man, how long has it been since I got that much sleep? I looked to my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. Well, hey, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all, I had gone through a merely handful of days. I deserved to get some good luck. Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarms before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Huh? Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
Aw, shoot. I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet, and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time, 6:30. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bag and carried it downstairs towards the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with a sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him. I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious. I devoured every amazing bite. I looked to the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the doors, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Yeah, you gotta look decent. Can't be ratchet, okay? Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? Oh, hi, Damien. Kinda surprised me. I turned to see Damien, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Damien.
Nah?
I want you to know my real name, if something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? Damon gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Esrol.
That sounds fancy as shiz. Israel. As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. Damien pulled away and stared at me, despite still care and worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise, I'll come and help you.
That's like so cute. I stared up at Damien, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Damien smiled before releasing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that the name would be used eventually. Yeah, probably at school. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about homework and the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Oh, please don't let me see Lizette. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. During high school, I have never used my locker, honestly. I bought it, but I never used it. Because it would be never around my classes. Stupid. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Oh, God. Whoa. Ow.
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
The three of us looked back to see Lizette and her gaggle of girls. Lizette had a lot of complete innocence, while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lizette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goonies did it, it was now obvious that Lizette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She looks totes ugly, yo. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to her locker, write in big, bold red words, "Do you want to get cut?" I will cut you. Not cool, Lizette. Get her. No, we gotta be the big person right now, okay? We're gonna hit her with the kindness. No, I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. She was a bully, but I was not going to let her get to me. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Anderson, you okay?
That was a pretty bad fall.
Yeah, I'm fine. I fall like that is nothing. I merely smiled at them, not wanting to let them know the pain rushing through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking. My shoulders were pulsing, but I remained constant-faced. I quickly gathered up my belongings and nodded to my two friends. Come on, we'll be late for history. Suzu and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk to class, away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group behind us from the corner of my eye.
Friggin' bunch of Lisette feet lickers.
Ew.
That's gross, Suzu.
It's true. It's all OMG! Lisette is the best! Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned ahead to the group, glaring daggers at them.
Fuck did you just say?
I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped tightly, knowing she could try to push my hand away. Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's just go.
No, I think it's about time we taught them some manners.
Suzu, no, you're gonna get expelled.
Suzu!
I looked at Lizette and her group. Lizette had a widely amused smile on her face, which irked me to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere. Let's go. I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi and me. Suzu tried to step towards the group, but Naomi held onto her other shoulder. We held onto Suzu, who fought against our hands as we marched to class. Just F her, Suzu. Soon enough, that little girl is gonna be working for you. That's what you gotta tell your bullies, okay? If you're ever bullied and you're like really smart and talented, just look at them and be like, one day you're gonna work for me. Bam! Do that. That will knock their asses off. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to my classes, had lunch, and was anxious to go home. As the bell rang for school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh? A text? From Dad? I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah. Alright. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. What if it's not my dad and it's Maxwell? I waved Naomi and Suzu goodbye before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go to another Rise of the Phoenix concert. Eventually, I had played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? Dad's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected. and read a signal disconnection error message. What the? No signal error. How do I not have signal? Yeah, this is a bad, really bad or yeah, it's totally Maxwell that used hit her because I don't think her father and mother, her family is not protected by the magical aura. So it could be a prank. And that's why Damien had that weird feeling and told her if something happens, we have to call him Israel. Which sounds fancy as hell when he said it. Doesn't sound fancy when I say it. But he had he rolled his R's. I can't roll my R's. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. This is so intense. I'm pre-recording like crazy. Yeah. So, I'm probably gonna play this some more. But I'm gonna take a quick break for now. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Stay beautiful. And I'll see you guys next time.